I had a spontaneous awakening experience after smoking a spliff when I was 21. I know I've told you about it. And I didn't know it was an awakening experience. I thought I was going mad.
Yeah.
But I didn't go mad, thankfully. I just thought I was going to go mad. Basically, I opened to something after smoking a spliff, and my body wasn't ready for it. My mind wasn't ready for it. I had no spiritual inclination at all before that. I was a solid atheist, scientific type.
I didn't know that, actually. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then, after a few years of going through like a really intense dark night of the soul, then I discovered spirituality, and got into it through that. It was just immense psychological suffering, and I didn't care about spiritual enlightenment. I only cared about ending my suffering.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a link between the two? The problem is when people say enlightenment, awakening, people have different definitions. Some people think, oh, that's the end of suffering, but other people see it as seeing reality clearly, or some people say understanding the true nature of yourself. How do you think they're linked? How does suffering and awakening link?
Well, suffering, at least the way that I experienced it, was believing very scary thoughts in my head. And so for years and years, I was believing the thoughts that my brain was telling me, that I was going to go crazy, that I was going to die, that terrible things were going to happen to me, that I was a useless, terrible person, all of this stuff. My mind was telling me all sorts of stories, which had a really strong physiological effect on me and pulled me into a lot of suffering.
I like your mind. Sorry, I'm joking.
And so awakening was seeing thought for what it is, that it's not true, it's conditioned. Yeah. And when I started to see thought for what it was, that it was conditioned, I very gradually started to awaken out of believing the thoughts. And the way that happened was through just really seeing the thinking. When I could really see it, I knew that I wasn't it because I could see it. Okay, so what am I? I must be that which sees it, the awareness which sees it. And now, I guess you could call that an awakening.
Yeah, for sure.
Experience. But I wouldn't call that enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel, or could you help someone, because I know exactly what you're describing, the insight of thought not being true, because you can explain that to someone intellectually, that does make a lot of sense, but the actual experience of the recognition of a thought not actually being tied to your identity, there is an immense amount of freedom from that. I've had that, and it feels like a massive weight just being released from you. Is there any way you could help someone speed up into that realization rather than just intellectually thinking it over and going like, yeah, that makes sense, but they're still actually completely conditioned into their mind?
Yeah, it's really, really important to know that it's got nothing to do with intellectual understanding. Yeah. So I'll try and say that in simple language, because somebody could even hear that and intellectualize it.
Yeah.
It's about direct experience. So if I was to give you a banana and tell you to taste the banana and tell you to really feel into what the banana tastes like, if you'd never had a banana before, there isn't a single collection of words I could possibly say to give you the experience of the banana.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way you could ever experience it is through direct experience, through tasting it.
Yeah.
With a banana, it's easy because all you have to do is peel it, put it in your mouth, and start chewing it, and you get a direct experience.
Right. Yeah.
But with spiritual insight, it's a little bit more. You need techniques which we're not used to.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain tuning in which we're not used to. It's similar to a really amazing intuitive musician who's playing a song, and they're really tuning in with their heart and with their being to every note that they're playing. There's a deep listening and deep perceptiveness which they have developed over time, where they've honed their attention in so that they can pick up on like absolute delicacies of what they're playing.
Yeah.
You need that same level of listening and perception in order to really tune in with what you are beyond the mind.
Yeah.
But again, that's just me saying things which people
Yeah.
might take on intellectually. So would you like me to give an example of how something practical?
Yeah, I mean, maybe talk. Before you do that, it'd be really interesting to hear the first time that happened to you, because I can remember it really clearly a couple of times. But and is there any idea as to why it happened?
Why I tuned in with something beyond myself?
How did you manage to actually get, like, what was there anything that maybe allowed that to take place?
Well, the first time it happened, there's 4 distinctive ways that this opened up for me.
Yeah.
That happened at different times,
Yeah.
and they're I guess the 4 different routes that I teach people to come into this.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds cool.
So the first one was very basic. It sounds quite new agey, but I was into something called inner child healing.
Yeah.
I'm not so much into it anymore, but for a time it was really helpful when I was really, really suffering. So there was a moment where I was going into a panic attack at home, and I'd been having panic attacks for years. And I'd read this inner child book, so I was like, oh, what I need to do is love this inner child. For my whole life, when fear or panic had come up, I would just go into thinking.
Yeah.
And for a few years, I'd been going into fear and panic in a very intense way every day. But this one day, I did something different. I was watching TV, I was going into the panic attack, my family were all around, and I saw this photo of myself as like a little kid. I was probably 9 years old, just on the side. And I decided I was going to try and connect with the inner child. So when the panic was happening, I literally took my hand like this, my left hand, took my right hand, and I grabbed it like this, and I just said to myself, I've got you, I've got you. And something happened. For the first time in this whole period of suffering, I stopped running away from the fear, and I completely dropped into the energy of the panic. Something about embracing myself like a child helped me drop into the panic. And when I actually touched in with the panic, my experience was deep, deep peace. I didn't know why at the time, but now I know that in touching in with the panic, the resistance to it had dropped. And my ego, because the ego is resistance, the only thing getting in the way of you knowing your being is resistance.
Yeah.
So in dropping into the biggest feeling that I was completely resistant to and coming out of resistance to it, whoosh, the mind dropped, and then beingness opened up. And that was the first time I ever thought there was something to spirituality. So I was walking in my garden after, and I felt completely at home, completely at peace. I was laughing for the first time in years and years.
How old were you at this time?
22, 23.
Yeah.
And I was just walking around and I was like, oh, this is what spirituality is.
Okay.
I didn't know anything. I didn't have any information about spirituality.
Yeah.
I just knew, okay, there's something here.
I was gonna. Did you have any understanding of what it was before? Because I didn't.
I had no idea.
Interesting.
No. I just thought religion. I was like, that's not for me.
Same.
I was like, my spirituality is a load of nonsense. Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know.
I had no idea. Yeah.
So what happened after? So you got that insight, and then what happened after that? Did you get some books about it, or?
Then I just went full ham on that.
Right.
So for a year or so, I was just talking to my inner child and and really going through this inner child healing thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was having moments of connection with my body and with myself, and like I started laughing again, because when I was going through the dark night of the soul, and probably from the age of like 12 to this point 23, I'd laugh, but I wouldn't actually laugh. It was a fake laugh.
Wow.
There wasn't true humour.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real laugh. And through this, then I started laughing. Like, actually, I remember watching Friends and hearing like Ross Geller speak, and I was like, oh my God, I'm actually laughing. Like, this is what laughter is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it allowed you to fully express your...
It just connected me to my joy.
Yeah.
I'd been cut off from my joy, and through connecting to the body, I'd connected to the joy. Yeah. So that was just the first way that I found. That was my first like doorway.
Yeah, and then there was 3 more. Is that right? Or were they 3 methods?
No, there's 3. Let me just share. There's 3. There's another one. Done. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few more, but there's 2 more main ones, 2 or 3 more main ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there would be relevant talking about them and sharing them, or?
I could share them quickly if you want, because we don't need to go into a whole big
for
explanation on
sure.
each one.
How do you feel then this helped you with the suffering that you were having? Did you start feeling more free of it?
Yeah, 100%. That's the only thing. I'd been in psychology for years. Nothing had freed me from suffering. I'd been in therapy and self-help and everything. Nothing except for this is the first thing that started helping me.
Wow, okay.
Probably should move on to the other one.
Yeah, please.
Because it's important to know that wasn't like the final step. Mm-hmm. So then later down the line, instead of using the analogy of the inner child, the same thing happened. Panic come up in my system. And again, the first time when it happened with the inner child, I just held my hand. It was an unconscious thing. I didn't know what was happening. But later down the line, I started to see really clearly, every time there's a thought in my head, it's creating emotion in my body.
Right.
And every time there's an emotion in my body, it's throwing thought. And I saw the link, like when you hear about the mind-body link, when you actually see that your body is creating thoughts, like when you really see it, like create a thought, for me it was scary because I was like, oh my God, I'm not in control of anything. Yeah. My body's just creating these thoughts. But when you can see the link, what you can then do is you can consciously bring attention out of the thinking. This is what you've done in Vipassana a lot. And you bring it into the pure sensation of the energy of the emotion. And the first time I did that, it was a big wave of panic. And I was like, fuck this, I'm not going into that thinking. And I dropped into the feeling and stayed in it. And I just stayed conscious, present, alert in the feeling. And everything in me wanted to go up into thinking. Because that was the safety. But I just stayed. And if I stayed there, whoosh, I wasn't suffering. And then this joy, the joy of being, I didn't know it was that, started arising within experience.
I can tell you're very passionate about it.
And then this peace.
Yeah.
I am passionate about it because it freed me from suffering.
Yeah. I can relate.
Yeah.
So this now has led you to become a body-based therapist. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that how you describe it?
I don't know. I haven't really landed on a label.
Right.
But I guess I'm
Embodiment is the...
I guess I'm a meditation teacher.
Yeah, that's...
meditation teacher and spiritual... I don't know. I haven't come up with a label, to be honest with you. I think on the website I'm called a somatic spiritual mentor or something like that.
Because I know you're big with the body and how it relates to the mind. I really like what you said as well with the mind-body connection and seeing that there's a link. Because a lot of people get confused sometimes. They want to stop thought, but they forget actually they have a body too. And the focus here, not that you're focusing here on thought. Thought doesn't exist in mind in that sense that it's here. That's a confusion, but they do sometimes assume that the mind is all there is, but they forget there's an emotion as well that's linked to it. And recognizing that there's this link and seeing how thought can be, created through emotion and vice versa. I once actually asked my teacher not my teacher, what comes first, and he says, I don't know, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There is a link, and then there is a real direct relationship between the two. So from there, then this obviously lands on what I was just asking at the beginning, trauma, right? The big T. People talk about this a lot, and it's come into my awareness recently as well about meditation and spirituality can give you a nice freedom from the body mind, but then at the same time there is a lot of us do carry around lots of trauma, and it would be nice to heal it. Let's not kill ourselves. So got any nice insights on that?
Yeah, I have actually.
Thought you might.
So I've always been very much into therapy and meditation at the same time. And what I see from lots of people is that if you only choose meditation, you can find freedom to a certain extent from the body and mind. So you can free yourself from suffering to an extent. And I would say you can be in this place of freedom because your being is free. So you can come to know your being, and that is free. Yet that won't necessarily touch your human self, and that won't necessarily touch your trauma.
Yeah.
And my experience with trauma is that, and Gabor Mate says this, that trauma isn't what happens to you. I don't know his exact words, but trauma isn't what happens to you. It's what happens after the traumatic event.
Okay.
So if you go through a traumatic event and you keep it to yourself and you don't express the trauma after it's happened, you don't express it, it's locked into the throat, because the throat is the center for expression, obviously. So when you don't express something, it gets locked into your throat. So if you go through, you're getting bullied at school, and every day you're getting bullied, and you never talk to your parents about it, and you never talk to anyone about it, or girls are rejecting you at school and you feel heartbroken, or a friend dies and you don't express it, or you go through a car crash and you don't cry and shake and whatever. But we're so good at holding the things down by the throat. And so, although meditation definitely helps at healing trauma, I find a lot of people haven't activated the throat in that process.
Right, okay.
And that is a very, very human thing to do. People get into non-duality, get into spirituality, get into meditation, and they want to get away from the human.
Yeah.
Especially if they've got trauma. They're like, fuck this human, it hurts.
Yeah, of course.
It's sad. It's scared. I don't want this. I want to get away from it. But if you want to heal trauma, you have to be very, very human. You have to become completely human. And you have to act like you don't know anything about spirituality. And you have to learn to express what you couldn't express at the time. And through opening up the throat and speaking about difficulties that you've been through, whilst you've got a connection to the body, and whilst you've got a connection to freedom, because it can't hurt freedom. So if you're connected to freedom, it's actually very easy to go through this process. It's not very easy, actually, but it's easier than if you were.
Yeah, sure.
And through opening up the throat and just saying what you couldn't say at the time,
wow, okay.
pain can come out.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
My best mate died when I was 17.
Right.
And I thought I'd grieved at the time because I'd cried for a few days or something. This was, 13, I don't know, 16 years ago. And last week, with my therapist, I was just talking to her and I was in the body, right in the body, expressing some pain about something else. And my friend Matt came into my consciousness and I just told my therapist, oh, and my best friend died. And when I said that, I just started screaming. And the pain of, like, the grief, I couldn't grieve like that at the time. No one was holding space for me to drop to my knees and bawl and cry and wail and scream like, I love you, I miss him. That all came out 16 years later. Through me simply opening the throat chakra and telling somebody in presence what I went through.
Interesting.
And this is an art, and we have so many things. We go through so much stuff in our life.
We do. And
if you're holding it down by your throat, it doesn't matter how much meditation you do.
Is a lot of it shame? So something might happen to you and you don't want to clearly express your emotion because of shame to how you might come across. But in doing so, you're not authentically expressing what actually is arising. So for that very reason, it starts getting stored in a sense. So,
yeah, all sorts of things keep it repressed. Shame is one of them. Could be shame. It could be like fear of abandonment.
Yeah, sure. It's
all sorts of things stop you from expressing it at the time.
Wow.
So then when you actually do start working to express it.
So just a quick question then. If you've gone through something that was, challenging and you want to express it, but you're fearful of how you might be judged through others, would the answer be just, obviously maybe be wise to who you are expressing it to, so that you don't trauma dump on someone, but would it be wise to actually learn how to become this authentic just expression of your emotions? Is that something that helps you move forward quicker from this? Or does it have to be the right contained space?
No, it has to be the right contained space, 100%. So you learn this either on your own or with a therapist.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't want to say you have to find a good therapist, because they're few and far between. Not everybody has access to a good therapist.
Yeah.
So there's 2 ways you can do it. There's a few ways you can do it. I'll just share what I've done.
Yeah.
I have a really good group of male friends who are very emotionally open and aware.
Yeah, you do.
I've cried with my friends hundreds of times. So that's one avenue.
Sure, yeah.
That's not necessarily the trauma release, but that's one avenue of things I've shared. The other is I've had 2 literally enlightened therapists, spiritually enlightened therapists, who I've worked with on a weekly basis. So I've been very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And so I've learned to express with them. But a lot of this, probably a similar amount, I've done on my own. So I also teach a process whereby you can do this in the safety of your bedroom when no one's in your home, and you do it through imagination. So you bring up somebody who loves you, or somebody, it could even be someone who loved you who's died, and you imagine you're talking to them in heaven. Or it could be a therapist you used to have, or a teacher at school that loved you, or your idealized version of your parents.
Yeah.
And you have the conversation in your imagination. You keep your eyes open, at least I do, and you imagine them there, and you say what you want to say, which you couldn't say at the time.
Okay.
So if you went through something traumatic when you were at school, and what did you really fucking need to say? Who did you need to say it to? You probably needed to go home and cry to your mum and cry to your dad and tell your dad that you're scared and ask him for your help. And you don't do this in an intellectual way. You bring them up and you say simple childlike phrases. Like, Dad, I need you. Dad, help me. And when you practice this, if you keep at it, it might take you 20 minutes to get into it, half an hour to get into it. Eventually some pain might start coming. And the more you do it, the more you open the throat and the pain starts emptying out of you.
Wow, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the way you worded some of this stuff. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people on the spiritual path could do with starting here first, because I think it's a common mistake maybe one might make, is to, this stops working, the body mind, the life, the human, and you want to like you said, escape. You want to find the exit. But it's better to actually just turn around and face that first, because again, trying to escape, you can't really escape it anyway. It doesn't work like that. You get moments, but you're just sucked back in. And as we were discussing earlier, eventually when certain insights or awakenings arise in you, to be able to contain that, your body needs to be ready for it, so it doesn't become overwhelmed, and if you're stuck and you're full of trauma, or your nervous system's on edge, you're like, it doesn't work.
Well, I was asking my teacher Craig about something about this, and I was talking, this was years and years ago, I was talking about Ajashanti. And I think I was venting, like, why the fuck is it so easy for some people? Like, how come Ajashanti's just opened up to this and I haven't yet? And Craig was like, look, Ajashanti had a really, really blessed childhood. Obviously, I know he's been through a lot of shit. Ajashanti's been through really hard times. But he said Ajashanti had really loving parents. I'll say that, not blessed childhood. He had really loving parents. And he was psychologically, developmentally healthy. He had a good attachment with his parents. So when he got to the point of ego death, it was easier for him to let go, because there was a maturity within him at a young age. There was a psychological maturity. And I don't want to act like I know what Ajashanti's experience is, so let's just use this as a metaphor, because it might not be true. But if you are psychologically healthy, it's much easier to step through these spiritual doorways than if you're psychologically fragmented. Because if you're psychologically fragmented and you step through a spiritual doorway, the fragmentation of your psychology is going to be trying to grab you like this.
Yeah, that's really nicely said. I've experienced that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's not going to let you go.
Yeah.
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 You can blast through, but then it's going to be screaming and pulling at you.
Yeah. Maybe that's why a lot of people do like psychedelics, because it does just blast you through that doorway without the need of doing the groundwork first. People can get addicted to it. I actually think psychedelics are great, but it could be one of the dangers, because it doesn't give you that option of, are you going to go through or not? It just blasts you into it and then pulls you back out again.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's super dangerous, but I've been in these experiences where I have walked through a spiritual doorway and I have been psychologically fragmented, and there has been something within my psyche to pull me out of the doorway that I've just stepped through many times, and then I'm back in the room going, damn, I wanted to stay there.
Yeah. Well, it could be the trauma,
for sure,
fragmenting the psyche, which pulls you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think.
Yeah, it is, because it's the fear that something is not going to be okay in the end. It's like, it's the fear of eternal damnation.
Yeah.
I don't know if you relate to that. I'm just talking about my own experiences of this. One common one is like, you're never going to be the same again, or you're going to die, or you're subjected to, because that's how trauma works. It can't work. It can't be infinite, can it? It has to be contained. It has to feel like it's stuck. It can't, can't be just like, it can't exist in the field of infinity. Yeah.
But I think that's probably, I think we're always going to face things when no matter how much healing you do, you're always going to face existential fears when you get to that doorway.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So, there is like a natural level of fear and being human and scared of being going crazy in death. That is fine. But when there's extra stuff attached to that, then it can just make it seem. How would someone know from your perspective if they're ready? I don't think anyone can truly know and have authority over this for every single person, because obviously they have to figure it out for themselves. But what are some like signs that someone is ready to wake up, would you feel?
I think a really good sign that someone's ready to wake up would be that they were interested in listening to a video like this.
Wow.
Because it's not their ego listening to this. It's something in their soul which is listening. It's the awakening. If you're listening to a video like this and there's a resonance and a pull and like a real interest, then your soul, the awakening, is listening to this.
Yes.
The awakening it's already happening.
Yes.
It's like the desire for awakening only comes once the awakening has already started coming online.
Yeah.
The desire for enlightenment, the desire for awakening, is actually the fact that you're already feeling it intuitively, subtly coming online, and you can feel it coming over you, and then it does something in your mind which is like, I want that, and then you start chasing it, but it's already freaking coming.
Yeah.
But if that isn't arising with someone, then you won't resonate with videos. You won't watch videos like this.
I agree. I noticed this process for me. I didn't choose it at all.
Yeah.
It just happened. And then I look back on my life, and there's these weird moments that just seem to have just happened. And then I think the more you awaken, the more you see how little control you really had over things.
Yeah.
It can be quite scary. Yeah. Thank you for this. This has been really nice. And is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything like you feel would be important to share about the topics we've discussed?
I just want to say, like, I guess it is really, I think it's really, really important, and I know I've already said this, to do your psychological, emotional therapy healing work alongside spirituality.
Yeah. Okay.
And don't beat yourself up if you haven't been doing it, because the spirit, you can't fuck this up and you can't get it wrong. And we're given what we are given at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
And if somebody has a really difficult psychology and emotional world because of some trauma, and they've been hammering it with meditation and spirituality, that hammering it with meditation and spiritual inquiry will have taken them a really long way.
Yeah.
And the only reason it's done that is because of the suffering of the trauma. But now if you listen to a video like this, which is saying, look, come on, meet your humanity, meet yourself with love, help that pain within your heart to unravel. Okay, now it's the time.
Yeah.
But don't worry, don't think you've wasted time with the spiritual stuff, because that probably has opened you to something really good.
Yeah.
It all comes at the right time. For me, they both came basically at the same time. But for some people, they're into spirituality for ages and then they get into healing. Some people are into healing for ages, and that's a trap as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Thinking that you constantly have to heal yourself. Thinking that you have to heal every single wound inside you before you're free.
Because it just constantly reinforces the doer, the thing.
So someone who's in that, I'd be like, look, come on, wake up. You're already free.
Yeah.
So you got to...
It's fine balance.
It's a balance.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
This has been really insightful, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Please comment down below, give it a like. Cool.
Yeah, thank you guys.